Hello YouTube, it's Sarah and today I wanted to talk to you about Dark Witch by Nora Roberts. This is book 1 in the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy. I've actually had this on my TBR for a while. My mother got this for me for my birthday, I think 2 or 3 years ago now. So that's how long I've had it. So I finally got the chance to read it and I am so happy that I did. I enjoyed this and can't wait to go out and get the second book in the trilogy to find out what happens next. The Dark Witch is a reference to a past character. Like, we start out in what would probably be the Middle Ages, like ancient history. And the Dark Witch is this powerful witch, and I don't remember if the book touched on why she's called the Dark Witch, because she's not evil. She does good magic. So what the reference is for dark, I don't know. I didn't catch that if it was in there. But basically she falls ill and a great evil comes to attack her and her children while her husband is away. And so she uses her powers to try and call her husband home, but only to find out this was a trap. And her husband is killed, so then she uses what is left of her power to send her children away to safety, and does one last spell on this evilness. Now in the present day, this evil has been like festering, I guess you could say, for centuries, building up strength, and now the basically 3, because she had 3 children, 2 daughters, 1 son, and now these 3 must come back again, and is basically their descendants, and they are now cousins. There's a older girl to symbolize the oldest daughter. The middle child was her son, so the cousin is a guy. And the third and final cousin is the descendant of the youngest daughter. And each of these 3 children had different affinities. The oldest had a deep connection to a dog, the family dog. The son had a connection to falconry, and so he had a falcon. And the youngest, who this first book kind of focuses on, had an affinity for horses. In present day, her name is Iona. She is born and raised in America. Her parents actually don't like the idea of the witch in their family tree kind of thing. And so they kind of like push that aside and ignore it. And so whenever she tries to practice her magic or learn more about it, they kind of ignore her and, tell her not to bring it up again. And so she relies on her maternal grandmother, who does teach her some spells and a little bit about her magic. On a whim, because she feels this strong connection to her Irish history, she up and leaves, sells all her belongings so that she can take this trip to Ireland and basically move there. And so she stays in a castle hotel type place, and on instructions from her maternal grandmother finds her cousins, and the evil kind of recognizes that the 3 are back together again and takes this opportunity to attack. I had to give kudos to Iona because I'm not sure I'd be able to sell off my belongings, specifically the books. I mean, could you really get rid of that stuff? Not that I could sell most of mine since they're ebooks, but I do have a few physical books. To just up and leave and move to Ireland, and she had some prized possessions that she had from her riding days, riding, like horseback riding, and she sells even these prized possessions that she's collected from her horseback riding jobs or jumping days. Now in Ireland, one of her cousins has a connection to the horse stables in the area and directs her to the co-owner of the stables, and she has a connection not only to him, but to one of their newly acquired horses. Turns out this horse is basically the youngest daughter's horse from centuries ago. And in true Nora Roberts fashion, Iona and Boyle, the co-owner of the stables, start developing a connection of their own. While the action is small and minuscule in this book, that's kind of typical for a Nora Roberts book, and it doesn't seem to bother me, even though I typically think of myself anyways as someone that tends to like that action, that there's always something going on. What Nora Roberts does really well though is dialogue, and that is enough in her books to draw me, and I'm sure you as well, right into the story. And it is with this fantastic dialogue that we become connected to the characters and we learn about the characters. We learn by their actions and what they say. And I loved especially the subtle romance that blooms between Iona and Boyle. I would definitely recommend this book. I gave it 4 of 5 stars. The narrator of the audiobook is Catherine Kelgren, and she does this with an Irish accent, which, because the book takes place in Ireland, only helps draw you in more. So I recommend you go out to your local store, library, online book retailer, whatever, and pick up your copy of Dark Witch by Nora Roberts. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you liked this review, please give it a thumbs up and share with your friends, and I will see you soon with a new video. TTFN!